Groovy English Podcast.
Hey there! Welcome back to Groovy English. I'm Chloe.
And I'm Aiden. We share real stories, useful tips, and everyday English to help you grow with confidence.
Wherever you are in your English learning journey, we're glad you're here.
If you're enjoying the podcast, feel free to like, subscribe, or share it with a friend.
Let's get started.
Hi everyone, it's Charlotte here. Today, I want to share a story about how watching TV shows completely changed the way I learned English, and how it helped me speak better, sound more natural, and even gain confidence. When I first started learning English, I used to think the best way was to study textbooks, memorize vocabulary lists, and do grammar exercises. I believed that watching TV was just entertainment, not really real learning. But then, everything changed when I gave myself permission to learn through TV shows, and I want to tell you exactly why and how it worked for me. At the beginning, I chose simple shows, mostly comedies and sitcoms, because the language was everyday English. The conversations were short, clear, and funny. I found shows like Friends, How I Met Your Mother, and The Office to be perfect. These shows had characters I could relate to and situations that felt familiar, so it was easier to understand and stay interested. One thing that I learned quickly was that watching without subtitles helped me a lot. I know that sounds scary. But I started by watching with English subtitles on so I could read the words as I heard them. Then, after a while, I turned off the subtitles and tried to understand just by listening. This helped train my ears to catch the words and phrases naturally. I remember one scene in Friends where Joey says, "How you doin'?" It's such a simple phrase, but I realized that people don't always speak the way textbooks teach. They use these short, casual expressions all the time. I started practicing saying, "How you doin'," just like Joey. It felt fun, and it helped me sound more like a native speaker. Another thing I did was pause and repeat. If I heard a phrase or sentence I liked, I would pause the show, rewind, and say it out loud. Sometimes I even copied the actor's intonation and rhythm. For example, I'd hear a line like, "I'll get back to you later," and I'd try to say it exactly the way the character said it. This not only helped my pronunciation but also gave me a feel for the natural flow of English conversation. Watching TV shows also introduced me to slang and informal language, things that don't always appear in textbooks. Phrases like "hang on a sec," "no worries," or "that's awesome" became part of my everyday speech. Using these expressions helped me connect better with English speakers and made my language sound more relaxed and natural. Sometimes, I would watch the same episode multiple times. The first time, I focused on understanding the story. The second time, I paid attention to the details, the vocabulary, expressions, and pronunciation. By the third time, I was able to join in and say the lines along with the characters. It felt like I was part of the conversation, and that boosted my confidence a lot. Of course, it wasn't always easy. Sometimes I got frustrated because I didn't understand everything. But I learned to be patient and enjoy the process. I reminded myself that learning a language is a journey, and every episode one watched was a step forward. One unexpected benefit of watching TV shows was how much my listening skills improved. I started to understand English spoken at normal speed, not just the slow, clear speech from textbooks or language apps. This was huge for me because it meant I could follow real conversations, movies, or even live events without feeling lost. Watching shows also helped me learn cultural references and humor. I realized that language isn't just about grammar and vocabulary, it's about understanding the people and the culture behind it. This made me more curious and motivated to learn even more. I also want to share a little tip. I kept a notebook next to me while watching. Whenever I heard a new word or phrase, I wrote it down with an example sentence. Later, I practiced using these phrases in my own sentences or conversations with friends. This made my learning active, not just passive watching. Another great thing was that I could watch shows anytime and anywhere, on my phone during commutes, or on my laptop at home. This made learning easy to fit into my busy life, and it felt more like fun than work. As my skills improved, I began watching different genres, dramas, documentaries, even cooking shows. Each one helped me learn different vocabulary and styles of speaking. For example, cooking shows introduced me to food-related words, while dramas helped me with emotional expressions. I also noticed that my confidence to speak English increased dramatically. Because I was exposed to real conversations and casual language, I felt more comfortable trying out new phrases with my friends or even strangers. Watching TV was like having a language coach right there with me, showing me how people really talk. If you're listening to this and wondering how to start, I highly recommend picking a show you enjoy and watching it with English subtitles. Don't worry if you don't understand everything, focus on the general meaning and the way people speak. Try to repeat phrases out loud, and most importantly, have fun with it. In the beginning, it might feel like you're just watching for entertainment, but every minute is actually helping your brain learn English naturally. Over time, you'll notice your listening gets better, your speaking becomes more fluent, and you'll start to sound more like a native speaker. One day, I was at a cafe when someone asked me, "Hey, how's it going?" I answered without thinking, "Not bad, thanks. How about you?" I realized I'd picked up that casual greeting from a TV show and was using it naturally. That moment made me smile because I knew how far I'd come. So, my journey with TV shows taught me that learning English doesn't have to be boring or stressful. It can be fun, enjoyable, and part of your daily life. The key is consistency, just a little bit every day. One thing I didn't expect when I started watching TV shows for English practice was how much it helped me understand different accents. English is spoken differently all over the world, and the shows I watched introduced me to American, British, Australian, and even Irish accents. This was super helpful because it made me more flexible in understanding various English speakers. At first, some accents were really hard to understand. For example, when I watched shows with British accents like Sherlock or Downton Abbey, I had to listen very carefully. Sometimes I had to rewind the same sentence a few times before I got it. But over time, my ears got used to it, and I started enjoying the variety of sounds. Another great benefit was learning how to express emotions in English. TV shows are full of emotional scenes, whether it's happiness, anger, sadness, or excitement, and hearing how characters express these feelings taught me a lot. I learned phrases like "I'm so excited," or "that really upset me," and the tone and body language helped me understand the meaning better. Watching TV shows also gave me examples of how to use idioms and expressions naturally. Idioms can be really confusing when you just read about them in a dictionary, but seeing them used in context made everything clearer. For example, break a leg means good luck, and I first heard it in a theater scene on a show. Now I use idioms like these in my daily conversations. I started noticing small things too, like how native speakers use contractions a lot. Instead of saying "I am going to," they say "I'm gonna." At first, this was confusing because I learned the full forms, but hearing the contractions in TV shows helped me sound more natural when I spoke. One challenge I faced was understanding humor. Sometimes jokes or sarcasm didn't make sense right away because they depend on cultural context. But the more I watched, the more I understood the humor, and I even found myself laughing at the jokes. This made the learning process enjoyable and less stressful. I also loved watching shows with subtitles in my native language at first. This helped me get the story and follow the plot without getting lost. Gradually, I switched to English subtitles, and eventually, I watched without any subtitles. This step-by-step approach made the transition easier. Sometimes, I watched scenes repeatedly to catch every detail. There was one episode of Friends where Chandler makes a sarcastic comment, and I paused and replayed that scene several times to catch the exact words and the tone. Repeating scenes like this helped me improve my listening skills dramatically. I realized that TV shows give me a chance to hear real-life conversations with natural interruptions, slang, and casual language. This was very different from the formal English I learned in school. The casual style made me more comfortable using English in everyday situations. In addition to sitcoms, I watched dramas and documentaries. Dramas helped me learn more formal and emotional language, while documentaries introduced me to technical and specialized vocabulary. For example, watching a nature documentary taught me words like ecosystem, species, and habitat. I noticed that the background sounds and music in shows also helped me understand the mood of the conversation. For example, tense music during a serious conversation helped me guess the meaning even if I didn't catch all the words. This made watching shows a complete learning experience. Watching TV shows also helped me with pronunciation. When I heard a word pronounced differently than in my textbooks, I would practice saying it the way the actors said it. This helped me sound more natural and less robotic when speaking English. Sometimes I would mimic entire sentences, trying to copy the actor's rhythm and stress. This exercise was like singing along with a song but for speaking. It improved my fluency and helped me get rid of my hesitation. I also found that watching TV shows helped me learn conversational fillers, words like and like. At first, I thought fillers were mistakes, but I realized they're a natural part of speaking and make conversations sound more relaxed. One important lesson I learned is that making mistakes is part of learning. Sometimes, I would repeat a phrase incorrectly, but I didn't worry. Watching shows gave me confidence to keep trying and improving, knowing that practice makes perfect. Another great thing about TV shows is the opportunity to learn body language. I realized that communication isn't just about words. How people use gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact adds meaning. Watching characters helped me understand this nonverbal language better. I also used TV shows to improve my vocabulary by keeping a word journal. Whenever I heard a new word or phrase, I would write it down with its meaning and an example sentence. Later, I would try to use those words in my own speaking or writing. Sometimes I challenged myself by watching shows without subtitles. I would watch once with subtitles, then watch again without. This helped me build confidence and tested how much I really understood. Watching TV shows also helped me develop patience. Language learning takes time, and sometimes progress feels slow. But seeing the same phrases repeated in shows helped me realize that repetition is the key to success. I found it motivating to watch TV shows because they made learning fun. Instead of feeling like a chore, learning English became a hobby I looked forward to. This changed my attitude and helped me stay consistent. Watching TV shows also helped me understand different English-speaking cultures. I learned about holidays, traditions, and daily life in places like the US, UK, and Australia. This cultural knowledge made my conversations richer and more interesting. I also discovered that watching TV shows improved my memory. Repeating phrases, sentences, and stories helped me remember vocabulary and grammar better than just studying lists of words. Another important thing I noticed is that watching shows helped me with my accent. I started picking up the intonation and melody of English, which made my speech sound more natural and less flat. I also realized that TV shows can help with motivation. When I watched characters succeeding, solving problems, or making friends, it inspired me to keep improving my English too. Watching shows with friends or joining English discussion groups about shows added a social aspect to learning. Talking about episodes helped me practice speaking and share ideas with others. I also learned to be curious and ask questions. When I didn't understand a phrase or joke, I would look it up online or ask a teacher. This active learning helped me deepen my knowledge. Sometimes, I would imitate my favorite characters for fun. This exercise helped me practice pronunciation and expressiveness. Plus, it made me more confident to speak in front of others. Watching TV shows gave me the chance to experience different kinds of English, from formal business language to slang used by teenagers. This range made me more adaptable in conversations. Finally, the biggest lesson from watching TV shows is that language learning doesn't have to be perfect or boring. It can be enjoyable, practical, and connected to real life. If you love TV shows, you can use them as a powerful tool to improve your English every day. So if you're looking for a way to boost your English skills, I encourage you to find a show you love, watch actively, repeat phrases, and speak out loud. You'll be surprised how much it changes your speaking and listening. There were moments when I even dreamed in English. The first time it happened, I woke up smiling. It felt like my brain was finally embracing the language. It was a small but exciting sign that English was becoming a real part of my life, not just something I studied. I also noticed that I started using phrases from shows without thinking. Phrases like "no worries," "that makes sense," or "what's going on," just came out naturally during conversations. I wasn't memorizing anymore, I was living the language, and that made a big difference in how confident I felt. A turning point came when I started understanding jokes the first time. I remember watching a comedy show and laughing out loud, not because I read the subtitles, but because I truly got the humor in English. That moment gave me a strong sense of accomplishment. I also used shows as a shadowing tool. I would listen to a character say a sentence, pause, and then repeat it exactly the same way, copying the tone, speed, and rhythm. It was like learning a dance move by following along with a video. It helped improve my fluency and pronunciation dramatically. There was a time when I struggled with connecting words in speech. Native speakers often blend words together, and that used to confuse me. But by watching shows repeatedly, I began to notice these patterns, like gonna instead of going to or to know instead of don't know. This made conversations easier to follow and imitate. One show I watched regularly had characters from different countries speaking English. That helped me feel more comfortable with different accents and speaking styles. It reminded me that there isn't just one correct way to speak English, there are many, and they're all valid. Over time, I stopped being afraid of fast conversations. In the beginning, I used to panic when native speakers talked quickly. But after watching enough TV shows, I realized that even if I missed a word, I could still understand the meaning. That gave me confidence in real-life situations. Another thing I loved was the context. In TV shows, you don't just learn vocabulary, you learn when and how to use it. For example, I heard someone say, "I'll pass," when they didn't want something. I had never learned that in school, but now I use it naturally when I don't feel like doing something. Sometimes, I would write short summaries of episodes in English after watching. This helped me practice writing and think critically about the language used in the show. It was like creating my own little English lesson, just from one episode. Looking back, watching TV shows didn't just improve my English, it changed how I felt about learning. It became joyful, creative, and something I looked forward to. I wasn't just learning English anymore, I was connecting with it in a personal, meaningful way. If you want to improve your English speaking skills, I encourage you to find shows that interest you, listen carefully, repeat often, and don't be afraid to speak out loud, even if it's just to yourself at first. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to start or continue your own English learning journey with TV shows. Remember, every small step counts, and you're doing great. Until next time, keep watching, keep speaking, and keep growing your English skills.
Your English is shining brighter by the minute. Hit that next video to keep leveling up your skills. Or dive into our other episodes for more secrets to talk like a pro. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to join the Groovy English crew.